2 races in the books and an ever-expanding grid, the Night Racing League Sportscar Championship heads to Belgium for the final European round of the season. In LMP2, after surviving a scare at Silverstone and a back-and-forth battle at Le Mans, Nathan Jew takes a commanding lead to race 3 thanks to back-to-back wins. In GTE, it's a new face every race as the Silverstone winner faltered, leaving the stage open for newcomer Dmitry Dimchenko at Le Mans. Next up, it's 2 hours at the legendary Spa-Francorchamps. Race 3 of the Night Racing Sports Car Championship starts now. Hello everybody and welcome to Spa-Francorchamps for race number 3 of the Night Racing Esports Sports Car Championship. This is our final round in Europe as we'll head across the pond in a fortnight's time for a race at Interlagos. And then a series of special races. We'll have the GTE only race at Mid-Ohio. That's still up in the air as far as participation. We'll hit on that later, and then 3 2-hour races to finish off the series, including a night race at Daytona. We're really looking forward to that. But the grid has been getting larger, and we've got a great group of drivers here today. Let's see the starting grid. For race 3 at Spa, it's Dennis Rotter on pole, the only driver under 2 minutes with a 1:59.87. Beside him, Nathan Jew, 2-time race winner with a 2-minute 00.343. Row number 2 has Andre Heinrich alongside Switch-It teammate, the number 4 of Thomas Brommel. Row number 3 is Andreas Schwartz beside the first of the Night Racing Esports cars, Keith Rainey in the 6. Row number 4 is Paul Seeley in the 72 with Dean Ellico. And the final row shows the Red Kite teammate of Nick Mannery alongside Jaden Manathan-Guerin in an LMP class covered by 2.7 seconds. In GTE, it's the 108 of Alexander Schleicher on pole with a 2-minute 11-second.798 alongside newcomer Patrick Kluge. Row number 2 sees Leighton Cater beside the 24 of Jens Walters. Jennifer McDonald inside of row 3 in the 99 BMW with the UK's Jack Belton alongside in the 17. Row 4, Kevin Hensel from Germany alongside Canadian Connor Seidel in the 25. Hayden Fowler is inside row 5 and rounds out 9 cars, all inside the 2-minute 12-second range. He lines up beside the 91 of Toby Seninger. Mark Sonen's inside row 6 with Marcel Struth. Row 7 has Jerome Noel in his Night Racing League debut alongside fellow newcomer Chris Costa in the 76 Corvette. Jamie Allen's inside row 8 with John Nielsen on the outside, and the final row sees Chris Thompson and Maximilian Petrovsky. And as you can see, 28 cars will take the starting lights here today as the field continues to grow in Season 1. We've got a lot of drivers who have showed up and signed up. This is a series, of course, for endurance drivers. And they're telling their teammates, and things are really filling in. And most notably, as the cars start to grid up, you can see the number of Switch-It drivers we have in the field. They are making a claim on both championships, to be honest. And not only with front-running cars, they've got some of there are other drivers, up-and-comers as well. There are Switch-It cars throughout the field. And it's really great to see the numbers growing up. They are chasing what is now a growing field of Red Kite drivers as well, led by Nathan Jew in the LMP class. We've got some GTE drivers as well. As the drivers get set to take the green, we're just waiting for the last few to get on the grid. 2 hours here. As we'll take a quick look at the points. Nathan Jew with a large lead with the back-to-back wins in the LMP class over Paul Seeley in the Night Racing Esports car. And the GTE points, very close, as Alexander Schleiter with 2 podium finishes leads by 5 over Connor Seidel in the BMW. Hayden Fowler, the race 1 winner, as the grid starts to move away. Led by your pole sitter in the number 11, Dennis Rotter. That fantastic battle with Nathan Jew at Le Mans 2 weeks ago. And we're looking for more of the same here as they have their cars on the front row in LMP. The GTEs waiting for their 15-second gap, and they will get rolling as well. They should be getting their start at the regular start line. We use the endurance start for the LMPs, so they will go through La Source before getting the green flag. Ten LMPs today and an 18-car field in GTE as we continue to grow the series. They will line up, the LMPs all lined up 2 by 2. And the lights are on. Dennis Rotter will lead us down to Eau Rouge. Everybody away clean. Meanwhile, it is Alexander Schleiter who has changed his livery. Leading the GTEs. Lots of action back through the field as we'll start to check out some of the battles forming. Nick Mannery all over the back of Dean Ellico there. Jennifer McDonald in the big group of GTEs in the middle of the pack. On board the roof of the 99. Little bit of a gap out of the gate for Dennis Rotter. Nathan Jew with 2 more switch cars right on him. On board Thomas Brommel in 4th momentarily. As we come around now using the regular start finish line for the timing screens. And you can see a very, very good lap by Dennis to open up here. And he's got himself a 2-second gap over Nathan, who is under a little bit of pressure here early. I have it on very strong authority that Nathan has got 75 liters of fuel in that car today. If you recall the first exhibition round here. Starts to get things seated back in. Someone off in the back, that looked like Jerome Noel in the 786 Ferrari, and he's dropped a few positions. As we watch this very tight midfield battle, Hayden Fowler now on the outside of Connor Seidel, and will take that position down the Kemmel Straight. Working lap 2 here at Spa-Francorchamps. Hello to everybody watching. We got off a little late today, but we'll have the full 2 hours here for you on the Night Racing YouTube channel. That gap again starting to stretch a little bit up front. We're watching. Roder has come round just now, passing the start-finish line at 2:01.234, his first representative lap time. The only cars you heard under the 2-minute mark in qualifying. Having said that, it's a very close LMP field, only 2.7 seconds, spanning the entire grid. As Connor Siegel continues to ride on the rear of Hayden Fowler, there is now fancying the look on Kevin Hensel, it looks like. And a little bit of a crash in the bus stop. That's Jennifer McDonald getting safely, and she's put that tire barrier, that doesn't help. And she's going to drop all the way down the field. As we'll have a look at what happened there. And it's a little bit of a tap, it looks like, on Leighton Cater, and then it looks like Jennifer just got a little loose and collected Belton there. Back live, and you can see Jack Belton is falling off the pace and down the field as he collected that front end damage. Yeah, quite extensive on that right front corner. This is Chris Costa in his first race in the series. The 76 C8R, being chased by Jamie Allen. Close battling here. This is the battle for 9th place, being led by Mark Sonnen there in that Corvette just up around the corner. Not sure what the flashing lights are for in a battle for position, but as Hayden Fowler continues to work the back end of the 94. Back up front, Dennis Roder with a 2.3 second lead now over the 81 of Nathan Jew. Heinrich looking content to sit in behind. Fuel not really an issue for the LMP2s as we found in all these races. But there's lots of strategy choices, and of course getting your tires to the end of a 2-hour race. They seem to be able to do it, but you do have to be careful with your pace. Jack Belton has made it to the pits. As Fowler sticks his nose out. More action in behind. As Hensel has maintained that position, and now we have Connor Siegel all over the back. Maybe a little bit of a slide there by Fowler as they went into Lacombe. We cut away, unfortunately. Belton is in the pits, and this looks like a long stop for that damage. Beautiful tricolor Corvette there. Of course, the Night Racing League thoroughly approves any cars with blue and yellow in their livery. Welcome to the league to the 76. Lots of new drivers here today. It's fantastic. This looks like it's shaping up to be the battle of the race here in the middle of the GTE field. Onboard Fowler again. And the view from the third car in that group. Five sessions, over 10 hours of practice were put in for these guys for this race. It is a low incident limit series. Drive-throughs at 8X and 6X as Allen is making a move in the hairpin here. And he'll get by Marcel Struff. Head down to Eau Rouge. Costa having a look now, side by side, backs out of it. Oh, and just in the back, going off track there was Petrovsky. Have a look at that one. Not the best place in the world to try a passing attempt, but he drops back in, but that unsighted Petrovsky, it looks like. Everybody none the worse for wear, and I don't think we actually had any car contact as Costa was having another little look in there. Still sitting in behind the switch-it car of Marcel Struff, who has now dropped right back off the back of Allen there. He may be the cork in the bottle here at the moment as these guys get settled in. Jennifer McDonald recovering now. You see her just coming up in the background there, 2 seconds behind Petrovsky. There's Jerome Noel in his first race in that beautiful red Ferrari. Has to be one of the nicest liveries I've seen on a 488. Just now catching the back of the GTE field. Oh, and a little bit of a wiggle, and I think that's a slowdown for the 78 car. Or did he just have a wiggle there? Either way, it gives Costa the position. He'll move into 11th, and now Jerome Noel wide again, and that'll give Noel a little bit of a run down to Eau Rouge. And Struff will maintain that position. But here we go down Kemmel. Petrovsky on the outside is going to make a move. So the Ferrari swap position. Oh, and off goes the 78. A little bit hot there into Lake Combe, and that will drop Struff down to 15th. Back at the closest battle on the circuit at the moment. We'll get a grid rundown. Lots of action going on all up and down the field. We'll check out that battle for 7th, and LMP is looking very close as Nick Mannery is up ahead of Paul Seeley now. Here they are. So Nick has made up 2 positions since the start of this race. He's also got by Dean Ellico. Meanwhile, up front, the other red kite car hasn't quite broken the draft there from Andre Heinrich. But you can see it's now a substantial, almost 4-second lead for Dennis Rotter. These two were back and forth at Le Mans until Ju finally claimed the victory. Rotter looks to have the pace here today at Spa. Here's your race leader in GTE, that's Alexander Schleitzer. A second and a third so far this season, and he's got the point here today in GTE, hoping to claim the only podium position he hasn't claimed yet. Behind him is teammate Patrick Kluge in the 15 car, also his first race. And that's a 5-second gap back to the 15. Meanwhile, back in the middle of the GTE field, these three cars, two battles going on. This one at the back we've been watching, and the one in the middle of the field with Hensel and Fowler. Dennis Rotter has now caught the second battle, and a little wide there by Petrovsky, and that's going to allow Jerome Noel to go through. Here is Nathan Ju. So we'll watch the gaps now as traffic will start to dictate up around the outside of Stavelo. And Ju is now by Noel as well. Here's Heinrich coming through. Hayden Fowler is back and forth with Kevin Hensel. He has gone off in the bus stop. That's going to allow the other two back through as he's serving a slowdown there. And that group of traffic you can see has got Heinrich right up behind Nathan Ju as we rejoin the LMPs up front. Rotter is through as well, or Brommel, sorry, is through as well in the background. There's so many switch-it drivers, I'm mixing their names together. There are no Brothers here. Rotter up front, Brommel in fourth. As we completed the first 15 minutes, everybody should be now seated in and comfortable. Start to work their way through traffic. That's Andreas Schwartz in the 204, and he's got Keith Rainey right behind him in the 6. And Rainey is going to make a move down into Les Combes. Beautifully done, and that's 5th place for the American in the 6 car. Schwartz comes through as well. We've got to do some proper planning here now as we watch Nick Mannery in the 37. Gone are the days of 10 or less cars in the GTE from the exhibition, and even the first race we had, there are serious groups of traffic now the way it should be. And we'll be moving forward, so very careful, keeping your incident points to a minimum. Seeley by the 76 of Costa. And Seeley is spun in the bus stop. Costa off in the background. He's going to rejoin on the other side of the corner. That's going to include a slowdown for sure. As we get a look at what happened there. Acosta locking up in the braking zone and just a little tap. I don't see a ton of damage. But that's going to drop the Canadian all the way to the back of the field. You saw as he rejoined Jaden Manathan-Guerin coming through in the 777. We go back up front as Jew and Heinrich make their way through. That was very close past Hayden Fowler there in the 28. Brommel is right there. He's doing quite well through the traffic and almost closing this gap up. We could have a three-way battle here for second very, very soon. Seidel on the inside. As they come through Fania, and a little look by Heinrich, but he wiggled, and that's going to give Brommel a chance on the inside. As they come down through Stavelo and back up towards Blanchimont, they clear Hensel, and we do have a three-way here, and Brommel really looking strong. Maybe a move here for second place coming. Nothing as they enter the bus stop. They'll complete their 9th laps. The gap up front to Rotter now 5 seconds. He clearly has the pace here today. Nathan with his hands full with 2 switching teammates in behind. Go by the 199 of Leighton Cater. And Cater with a new livery this week, you see. That is, those are the colors and the sponsors of his real life car. So he's got Tire Rack and Falcon Tire on there. Here's Keith Rainey, who has now pulled a little bit of a gap, but we are back up as Heinrich has retaken 3rd place. Got a good toe down the Kemmel Straight and makes the move stick into Lake Holm. And they're now up. It's the 24, is it? Yes, that's the 24 of Yen Wolters having a great race in 3rd place. And you can see the traffic there not helping Andreas Schwarz, and that gap between he and Rainey is going to increase. This is race 3 of the Night Racing League Sports Car Championship, coming to you from Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. The final race of the European section of the championship. From here, the teams will head over to Brazil and 90 minutes at Interlagos in 2 weeks' time. Then it's up to the U.S. for a 90-minute race at Mid-Ohio. We were touching on that earlier as Nick Mannerly's coming through that midfield battle in GTE. The Mid-Ohio race, round 5, was always slated as a GTE only. However, the drivers brought up that they would love to have it as a 2-class race. It was decided early on that if we got 20 drivers of GTE, more than 20 drivers, we would leave it as a GTE only and give them a chance to have a full race without having to deal with LMPs. At the moment, there are 22 GTE drivers signed up, 18 on the grid here today. We have not yet had a race with 20 cars actually on the field, as Jaden Manathan-Guerin is in the pits, and we are told that is a slowdown, a drive-through penalty. So he has exceeded track limits here. So that decision, as we get back to our train of thought there, that decision will have to be made this week. It'll obviously be made by the GTE drivers. Whether or not Mid-Ohio is a 2-class or a single-class race. And we will update the schedule and let everybody know when we find out. But with preparation times needed and testing, getting things organized, that decision will have to be made before the Interlagos round as Hayden Fowler drops back behind this battle again. That's the 72, his teammate coming up in LMP behind him. That's Paul Seeley, who will now negotiate the GTEs through Pouan. After Mid-Ohio, it's a triple of U.S. super tracks and 2-hour events to finish off the season. Of course, the night race at Daytona, Sebring, and the season finale at Road America up at Elkhart Lake in Wisconsin. So some great stuff coming up and some grid slots still available if you want to get involved. There are only 3 LMP grid slots open, and we have 10 GTE grid slots open if you want to get involved in the North American leg of the championship. Fowler up on the outside. Connor Seidel covers off that corner entry nicely. And this battle for 5th continues. As we cross the 25-minute mark, we'll be getting close to pit stops, maybe in the next 10 minutes for the LMP cars. We had some very interesting strategies here last time, so we'll see what happens. We had some cars with tires, some cars without tires. We had short fills, we had long fills. It was all happening, so we'll see what these guys do this time around. Mark Sonnen and James Allen having a bit of a ding-dong, according to Jamie Allen, sorry. And Jamie is not there anymore. He's dropped off the back. They were switching positions back and forth. But it looks like Sonnen is going to claim that position for the moment. As we jump back to this, the camera loves this battle. Closest one on the circuit. Here's Jens Wolters in the 24 switch at Corvette C8R, running in 3rd place. Fantastic run for him today. Wolters joined the league at Le Mans and finished in 10th place. So he's having a great run here today and showing his true pace. Nathan Jew, you can see up there, has done a 2:01.7 his last time around. That is the quickest lap in LMP. And just looking down the best laps of the race, a 2:01.1 by race leader Dennis Rotter. That is the fast lap of the race. Jew has a 2:01.292, so just under that. As we jump up to that battle for 2nd. There's Chris Thompson back in the field. After missing the Le Mans round, they were in that 24-hour charity race we were talking about. So it's good to see he and his teammate John Nielsen back in the field. And Nathan Jew is in the pits. Here's the 81 at the end of lap 13. And that is a short fill we're hearing from pit road. And with 3 pit stops in the LMP class, Nathan looking like he's short-filled the car and going for maybe 3 evenly timed pit stops. It's going to drop him right down the pack. As Hayden Fowler's having another look in the GTEs. We'll watch the pit times here. And we'll see if his time stopped is shorter than everybody else. Incredibly long pit stop here. He's just now made it into his pit box. As we mentioned earlier, Jaden Manathan-Guerin did a drive-through penalty. He accumulated his 8X off the start. It took him 1 minute and 1 minute and 1 seconds to get through pit road. Here is Nathan. He's now in ninth place. Away he goes. Stopped for 28.7 seconds in the 81 car. And his pit road time, 1 minute and 30. So we will keep a close watch on that as the rest of the field comes through. Looks like he was just pipped by Manathan-Guerin in the pit exit. Meanwhile, Hayden Fowler finds himself back at the front of this little group of cars, up into 5th place again. And that is Jennifer McDonald, pointed the wrong way for a second time. She's going to get that going again. And Guerin coming out of the pits. And it looked like he just bumped off of that curbing. She was leaving him some room on the inside of Melmedy there, but I did see the back end of that 777 jump, and we're hearing that actually was a net code. So things from bad to worse today for the 99. Now running in 13th place behind Marcel Struff. Surprisingly, the car doesn't look all that worse for wear. You don't tend to pick up a lot of car damage with a net code, so... And Jaden is back in the pits. Here comes Jennifer as well. So maybe taking care of some damage there. Kevin Hansel, he must think that his rearview mirror is painted red. Continues on here. We're getting very, very close to when we're going to see all of the LMPs in the pit road, so we'll start to cover that. Guerin has made it to his pit box. This is his second stop already in just 34 minutes. Connor Seidel starting to look like he's ready to make a move here on Hensel, as you can see Hayden Fowler starting to pull away from the sister Corvette. Has a look on the outside. Hensel tries to cover the apex. That's going to give Seidel the inside, but no, he didn't quite have. We'll see what happens as we head down to Kemmel. He's having another peek at La Source. Manathan Guerin is out of the pits. That was 49.6 seconds stopped. So maybe a little damage there as well. You can see he's actually dropping down in behind some GTE cars. On board Jens Wolters, as he's closed that gap up to Patrick Kluge in front. Manathan Guerin is back on circuit. There he is. 49.6 looks like a full fill and probably some damage, some optional damage repair. He's had a couple of things as we have leaders in the pits. Dennis Rotter there. You see Thomas Brommel right behind him. Heinrich and Rainey have gone through. There goes Rainey down the hill, and we're going to have a little shuffle up, and it's we'll watch those pit times and see if we can figure out what Nathan's strategy is compared to the others. Andreas Schwartz and Nick Mannery also hit the pits in behind. Paul Seeley has stayed out. So the 72, as has Dean Ellico. So all three Night Racing Esports cars staying out and doing an 18th lap. There is your interim race leader, the 32 of Andre Heinrich, who we expect, along with the rest of the top four now, to come into pit road. Hensel now has been able to pull a little bit of a gap there. Nathan Jew, you can see moving up the order as he's passing the cars just coming out of the pits now. And into the pits comes a 32. So we'll see what the overcut does. There is Rotter, who is in traffic and running right behind Jaden Manathan Guerin, who is a lap behind him. So if this traffic slows him down at all, we'll see where this puts Heinrich in relation. He's now by the 777. Rainey, Ellico, and Seeley also in the pits. And here comes Rotter. The other cars now just getting to their pit road. Heinrich stops. Rotter is in the bus stop. Dennis Rotter was stopped only 0.4 of a second longer than Nathan Jew. So if Jew was short-filled, he's obviously put in a full 7.5. Here comes Rotter down. You can see just there Heinrich coming out of his box, so Rotter will maintain the lead. Nathan Jew, meanwhile, just coming up through Eau Rouge. And Heinrich has jumped him. There's the gap. So a great job. 1 minute 30 on pit road for all 3 cars. So if that's traffic, it looks like it must have been that that influenced that gap as they're coming up now on Alexander Schleicher in his race-leading GTE car. Meanwhile, Hensel is off. And that has dropped him back in behind Fowler. Action going on all over the place. We're watching the timing screen and here's Keith Rainey, who has maintained his lead over Andreas Schwartz. That's the battle for 5th in LMP, but Schwartz all over him now as they move through traffic here. Might see a move here coming up to the bus stop. We will see a move coming up to Blanchimont, sorry. Chris Thompson in front pushes out of the way, and the 2 cars will come through. Back with Connor Seidel, who finds himself in 7th place. That's Toby Seninger in front of him. And they're going to pass Kevin Henson, who has made it on pit road. Yes, he is on pit road. So we'll see if there was any damage there for Kevin. We saw him off track there just for a second. Mannery and Dean Alico here navigating their way through. That is Leighton Cater in the 199. That's the 3rd place car in GTE. So you've got to be very, very careful getting through, not to influence the other class or influence it as little as possible. I mean, multi-class racing is all about negotiating traffic. Rainey and Schwartz are through. This is now the new battle for 5th place between Toby Seninger and Connor Seidel. The GTEs will be due to pit soon. I believe it's a 2-stop race for the GTEs. And the leader in GTE is in the pits. Alexander Schleicher has made it onto pit road. I know these guys are all about their team, and but if you change your trading paints livery before the race broadcast, you're gonna have something really cool like this on, Alex. The 108 looking very colorful today, but every bit as fast as the race leader is in. And we'll start to see a slew of GTE pit stops. As in behind him are Walters, Seninger, and Sonnen as well. Cater, Fowler, and Seidel have stayed out. They are temporarily moved up to the 1, 2, and 3 positions. Patrick Kluge is in the pits, and we hear there was a major incident at Lake Combe. That is Kluge on the outside. He's passing his teammate Wolters, and again, just a little touch. He didn't quite have the corner cleared. See a group of cars coming. He's waiting for the gap. And here comes another group of cars. And a horrible hit. That is Connor Seidel. So major impact there. And the stewards will be having a look at that, I am sure. I'm curious if we got our things mixed up there. Just looking at the timing screens. Fowler has made it into the pits. Cater also in the pits. We're going to see the GTE class sort of cycle through here. Meanwhile, back up front, the LMP class has sorted itself through its first set of pit stops. This is the 4-car in fourth, Thomas Brommel. He's got himself in a nice little gap here. Dennis Rotter now with a 7-second lead almost over Heinrich. He is still battling with Nathan Jew there. Hopefully we'll get a shot of that soon. Keith Rainey now starting to pull away from Andreas Schwarz. Incident limits, not an issue so far in LMP, other than for the 777 we've already seen go down with a drive-through. There is Heinrich in second, popping off that curb. Paul Seeley trying to fight his way back up the field after that early spin. Tapped in the back from one of the GTEs as entering the bus stop. That was Chris Costa. He's got about a 12-second gap behind Dean Ellico, so that's pretty much time he lost there. He was running just in front of Ellico and Nenery there. And there they are, the two of them. And he's fallen about 12 seconds behind that battle. Connor Seidel now has made it to the pits. We'll have a watch on that. See if there's any damage on that car. Oh, a little bit of connection. There it is. You can see it's looking a little crinkled. I thought maybe more on the back end, although he took quite a flight. That right front corner has got some damage from where the contact happened. A little on the rear as well. Surprised he made it back around to the pits still with the race lead. I mean, he's cycling through. He was in that battle for 5th place. But it was such a dramatic flight he took there. Surprised how little time he lost on circuit, as around is Mannery. he's going to come straight into the pits. This is a second pit stop. And did that trigger a drive-through as well? And speaking of, we're getting lots of notes from the pits. This is great. I love it. You guys keep sending me stuff from the pits. But speaking of the pits, you can see down at the bottom there, Chris Costa, who we mentioned earlier, is in the pits, and he's been there for a while now. 5 minutes stopped in his pit box, and we believe we have the reason why. Oh, it's very, very tight, and you saw there's Hensel coming through as well. It is very, very tight in pit road here on the endurance pits, and it's almost, if you're really precise, you can take it at pit road speed, but a lot of guys will even let off a little bit, and he clipped that inside barrier and did a nice little simulator barrel roll. We saw the switch-it car, I'm not sure who that was in front of him, also clipped the outside wall, which is usually what happens if you try to carry pit road speed through that tight corner. It's the inside of La Source, so it's very, very tight. And yeah, that explains why Chris Costa has not moved in over 6 minutes now, and we hear the repairs on that car are going to take in the neighborhood of 15 minutes, so he's about 10 minutes away from regaining the circuit. We're watching on this battle, Hayden Fowler now in 4th place as the GTEs have cycled through. Behind him we can see is Maximilian Petrovsky in his first race. He's a lap down, but that is Mark Sonnen racing with him. That's a battle for 13th place, a lap behind the 28 car in front of them. Lots of pit stops for those guys. So we are seeing must have been some damage repair. I'm not seeing a drive-through for Mark Sonnen. So, I'm not sure you know why Mark has come in for a second pit stop. As the 72 comes through that battle. Watching that gap, he's now just 9 seconds behind Ellico, so a bit of a recovery drive for the 72. There's Rainey up in 5th place. As now that the pit stops have gone through, we'll do a bit of a grid rundown here. There's your race leader in LMP. Dennis Rotter from pole, and he's got a 7-second lead now over his teammate, the 32 of Andre Heinrich. In the pit stop exchange, he was able to overcut the 81 of Nathan Jew. As you can see there, he's about 3.5 seconds up the road. In a bit of a race of his own right now is Thomas Brommel in the 4 car. Ahead of the 5th place car of Keith Rainey, who we may just hang on this a little bit as Andreas Schwartz has closed that gap. And they've become the two closest cars on the circuit at the moment. There's Schwartz clearly running 6th. You can see how close those lap times are for this battle, a 5th place battle. 2:04.1, 2:04.2, a 2:04.7 in traffic back there for Seeley, as these guys are now coming through traffic. It's 2:04.7 for Mannery as well. Behind Shores is the 4:29 of Dean Ellico, who has dropped back now from that battle. There's the 72 of Seeley, trying to regain the fight for 6th place that he was in earlier. And Nick Mannery in the 37 runs in 9th place. Ahead of the 777 of Jaden Manathan-Guerin. That rounds out the LMP field. The GTE field here, led by the 108 of Alexander Schleicher. And he has a 16-second lead over teammate Jen Wolters, who has now moved up past Leighton Cater into 2nd place. There is the 199. Now up into 4th after what is always an eventful day, it seems. The 28 of Hayden Fowler, running on a very empty piece of track. We haven't seen much of that today. In behind, just up back there, you see the red BMW of Connor Seidel, who is still running surprisingly well. You see the damage on the front end of that car, but he's managed to claim that 5th place that he was fighting so much in the first stint. The 91 of newcomer Toby Seninger is running 6th, just in behind him. They have the lap car there of Mark Sonnen. Jamie Allen, newcomer from the UK, in the 46 Porsche RSR. He runs in 7th place, about 7 seconds, 7.2 behind Seninger. And with a very comfortable lead, 38 seconds ahead of the 78 of Marcel Struth, with his switch counterpart coming through Heinrich there in the 32. A fantastic debut for the 786 of Jerome Noel. He's got a top 10 position going here in the Ferrari, running on the lead lap. And he is 3 seconds ahead of the 54 of John Nielsen. There he is. Running 11th, it has been an eventful day for Jennifer McDonald. Really, it has to say, through no fault of her own. Caught up in that little netcode tap from Cater and Wolters earlier. Caused a little bit of an accident in behind, and then another netcode incident. I'm not sure why we're seeing so many of them today. When Manathan-Guerin was going through at Malmedy, and that put her around for a 2nd time, but she is running. The car looks relatively clean considering, and she's in 11th place at the moment with an 8-second advantage over Kevin Hensel in the 94. Just getting passed by the 72 Paul Seeley. That's Jens Wolters in behind, who is going to put him a lap down. In 13th is the 3 of Mark Sonnen. ahead of the 66 of Chris Thompson. There he is in the white Porsche. The rest of the cars are on pit road as we head back to the action here. And Rainey and Schwartz still the closest battle on circuit, the battle for 5th place in LMP. I believe we've got some fun to look at while we were going through the driver rundown just a couple of laps ago. That was Nick Mannery. We saw him actually spun. There it was. He was making a pass there. And then he went into pit road. And here is another one. Here is Rainey getting by Kevin Hensel, who just clips that inside curb. And that allowed Schwartz to get by. The LMP's through clean there despite that. Here is Hensel back live as he is going up past, that looked like Wolters he was in behind. As the auto cameras seem to jump around, they like the close battles and keep us on that. But I'm going to go back to Hensel here. That is the 24, so maybe Wolters just got past there. We were seeing the tail end of that. It wasn't actually a move being set up by the 94. And you can see he's been in the wars there. That damage also from that lap 2 incident. I believe he was involved in that as well. We've crossed past the 1 hour mark. We're halfway here at Spa-Francorchamps. Nathan Jew is in the pits for his 2nd stop. He's been pitting earlier than everybody and trying to split this race into 3s, it looks like. Or into 4s, 3 pit stops, of course. But he didn't really save much time on pit road on his first pit stop, so we'll see if any of that pans out. Andre Schwartz getting by the Ferrari there of Noel. He and Rainey will pass Nathan while he's in the pits here. Nathan just in his pit box. Toby Senergy there. Try to chase down. Just looking at the lap times, Connor Seidel 2:14.7, quicker than Seninger. So, as big of a hit as that seemed to be for the BMW, it doesn't seem to be affecting his lap times. He's having a good run despite. This battle continues to rage for 5th in LMP. We're not expecting the rest of the LMPs. They came in on lap 17, after lap 17 and lap 18, so it's going to be a few more laps, maybe 8 to 10 minutes before we see the rest of the LMPs in. Nathan has rejoined in 8th place. Close stuff here. There is Nathan right now. He's got a gaggle of back markers in front here as Manathan Guerin tries to get by, patiently sits and waits. Nothing is worth the incident points or the possible damage you can get on the car. Woo, there's a little wiggle there by trying to pick out if that's That is Struff. .5 seconds and a 1 minute 27 on pit road. So that was a quicker stop for the 81. Let's check in with Heinrich. 9 seconds off the lead, held by Dennis Rotter. Nick Mannery getting by the third place car in GTE of Leighton Cater. And straight up the timing screens at 2:02.8 from Brommel in third place. So he must have got a very clean lap. Schwarz again looking racy here. And Dean Ellico has made it down pit road. He will be the second of the LMPs to make his second pit stop. More flashing lights from the 46, and he thinks that thing's an ambulance. I'm not sure, but it's been a good day for a debut for Jamie. He's up 8 places from his qualifying position. He's got a broken button on his steering wheel. I'm not sure what that's about. He's behind the 76. This is a back marker. People in this series are pretty aware of what's going on around them, so Brommel coming through, which makes this even more exciting. This will not be a 2:02. As you can see, the leaders have responded. 2:02.7 for Rotter, and they're at 2:01.8 for Heinrich as he came around. This lap will be considerably slower for the 4 cars. He had to negotiate that and a little pain, and that's exactly why you don't do it, because now he feels the need to retaliate. And anyway, sure that'll be all talked through and solved for the next race. And so yeah, as far as biggest movers is what we were talking about there. 8 positions for the 46 car, and that is by far the most on the field. Hayden Fowler has 5 positions. He would be the next, running up in 4th place currently in the GTEs. Connor Seidel, despite his fun, has made up 3 positions. 4 for Seninger, but actually that's very good. I'm just looking down the 40, not only the 46, but a very, very good race here for the 54 car. John Nielsen in the 54 Corvette also has made up 8 positions from his qualifying position. So a fantastic run there for the American. As we jump back to what is the closest battle, but it's not much of a battle. Rainey again pulling away and putting his stamp on a temporary 4th. We'll have to see what happens when Nathan Jew cycles through on the pit stops here. He's only 42 seconds down the road, and it's over a minute to stop here, about a minute and a half in the written field. So Here's your overall race leader, the 11 of Dennis Rotter. And a great run debuting that paint scheme for Leighton Cater, running in 3rd place. We just saw a green flash down at the bottom of the timing screen as Chris Costa makes a position up to 15th, and after all those repairs, he's 7 laps off the pace, but out there in his first race in the KRL and doing a great job. That very unfortunate pit road incident where he just clipped that barrier on the tight turn of the endurance pits, and it cost him over 15 minutes of repair time. So Chris hanging in there and doing the full 2 hours, so good on him. And he's just moved up to 15. There is Chris right there in front of Keith Rainey. Good on him. That's what endurance racing is about. You do the 2 hours. Andreas Schwarz now making his way past. Rommel having a bit of a lonely race here, but it's a very productive one, as he's got a stranglehold on the final podium position. Rainey now more than 20 seconds down the road from Rommel. It's a very, very good day for the Switchit cars. I mean, they've come on first in the series, and an incredible garage full of drivers, and right now they've got the podium locked out in LMP and 2 of the 3 podium places in GTE. So a fantastic day. 9 cars registered in the league from the German-based team. There's some Austrian drivers as well. And they're having a great day here at Spa. There's John Nielsen running in the top 10. As we said, he has made 8 positions up from his starting position, so a fantastic day for the 54. Toby Seninger there just letting through 5th place battle. Here we've got a real gaggle. And that is Kevin Hensel making a move on John Nielsen. So after a little bit of early troubles for the 94, he's coming back strong, and he will take 9th place. Car doesn't look that worse for wear, to be fair. Just had that little scrape on lap 2. Do some quick run-throughs, but it's the race leaders have made it to pit road. The 11 is in. Again, Heinrich stays out for an additional lap. We'll see if that turns into 2 laps, if he's getting a full lap every stint. But Rotter and Brommel in behind on pit road. Schwarz has also gone into pit road. Rainey has stayed out. We saw that before. We expect Seeley will also stay out. Ellico has stayed out. No, Seeley is in the pits. So a shorter stint for the 72 as he teams back up with the rest of the leaders. Heinrich and Rainey are going the extra lap. And now out of pit road is Dennis Rotter, stopped for 33.1 seconds. So as we were saying, the race split into quarters for Nathan Jew. The pit stops that time around. Nathan was on pit road for 6 seconds less than Rotter, 127 to 133. And a lot of it was stop time, 25.5 seconds for Jew. Dennis Rotter was stopped for 33.1 seconds. Just looking at Brommel, 31.1 for Brommel. So maybe clawing a little bit of that track time back now with his strategy for the 81 car. We'll see when they all cycle through. Heinrich is back in the pits now. Schwarz is just coming out of the pit. Seeley has overtaken him. Andreas Schwartz stopped for 52.5 seconds. He's taken tires. So that explains that. The first of the LMPs to take rubber. As we cross over, less than 45 minutes to go. There is Seeley. So he has made up a position on track now and has about an 8-second lead over the 2:04 of Andreas Schwartz. Everybody down to Schwartz is still running on their original tires. Dean Ellico looks like he also took tires, stopped for 1 minute and 9 seconds. And that has given Nick Mannery 8th place. He's about 6 seconds up the road now from Ellico. Rainey in the pits now, which is going to put Brommel back up to 4. And you can see Nathan Jew now. His strategy starting to work out. We're on board now with the 81. As he has jumped both Heinrich and Brommel. There's Heinrich in the background, and he runs in 2nd place. So it didn't look like it was working out after the first stint, but Nathan Jew has got himself back into 2nd place after the 2nd round of pit stops. And he finds himself 7.3 seconds behind the leader, Dennis Rotter now. And we'll watch those lap times as they get everything up to temperature and running. There is Rotter just now coming up past one of his GTE teammates. That's the 91 of Toby Seninger. We've got a few guys running slightly different numbers here today, so we'll get that sorted for next race. And you can see now that big gap. Seeley to Schwartz, but he's got tires, and when they start getting lap times from him, we'll see how they sort out. 2:02.8 for Nathan Jew up front, and 2:03.7 the first time around for Rotter. 9/10 of a second out of that lead. You can see it's now just under 7 seconds. negotiating traffic. And he'll move past Sonnen there at Rivage. So Dennis Rotter maybe either controlling this race a little bit up there. We'll see how those lap times sort themselves with Nathan back in the chase. Still waiting for Heinrich to come around for his first representative lap time since the pit stop. Jennifer McDonald now back up to 8th place, continuing to run strong after the early issues. So Nick Mannery running 8th. He's had a drive-through. There is Nathan. And Connor Seidel again, running a very, very strong top 5 position in GTE after being launched airborne by Patrick Kluge. Stewards have looked over that incident, and it is a penalty, and Patrick will be carrying that forward to future races for an unsafe rejoin of the circuit. Chris Thompson in the 66. Passed there by Manathan Guerin, but it's Rotter that's coming through here trying to negotiate back markers. As we continue to watch that gap, Nathan collected another 0.8 of a second according to the last lap times. Although, yeah, that gap's always fluid through the laps. So you say he collected 0.8 of a second, but the gap is not 0.8 smaller. It's just because of the way we're ebbing and flowing through traffic. But you can see it is now. He's really had to wait to get through these. He's still not by the 777, and the gap down to 5 seconds. Blue flags for the 777, and he will get right out of the way. He's just saw Nathan peeking out of the bus stop as Dennis made the move there at 2:06 for Rotter that time around, and 2.8 seconds he lost in that gaggle of traffic. There is Nathan. We have a visual gap as if you just caught out of the corner of your eye there, the 3rd place car, Leighton Cater, is in the pits in GTE. That'll be his 2nd stop, and he's the first of the front runners to hit pit road for a 2nd time in GTE. The 108 race leader, Alexander Schleitzer, he's had this race all to himself. Very unlike the previous 2, especially Silverstone, where that 3 and even 4 car battle at times was relentless for the entire 90 minutes. He's got himself a nice 22-second lead over teammate Jens Wolters in the 24. And he may collect the only podium spot which has eluded him in the first 2 races. He has a 2nd, he has a 3rd. And is today the day he puts a victory on his resume? This is Brabel. A little bit of that lead is gone, but he's still very, very comfortable in 4th place over Rainey. It's now a 12-second gap as he gets by the 5th place car of Toby Seninger in GTE. A great top 5 debut for him. Heinrich really dropped back. Almost, it's 5.5 seconds now. And we'll get a real lap time here as June is going to have to come through these Manathan Garin and whatever GTEs are around at 2:02.6. So a great response by the race leader after having to be so patient through that traffic. He gets not even a tenth, a 2:02.716 for Nathan behind him. So we've got a race here at the front of LMP. 3.4 seconds the gap. Here's Keith Rainey now finally free of Andreas Schwarz, who was still 6 seconds behind the Canadian of Paul Seeley in 6th. So a good recovery there by the 72 who was around early, got tapped at the bus stop. And that is Mannery who is spinning. Catches it. But is that at Poulon? Yeah, that's where it was. Very fortunate there to not collect anything at a high-speed section of the circuit. And that's going to put Dean Ellico right on his tail. We head back there. Let's see where Mannery... yeah, he's got the 4:29 now. His gap is gone. And we believe that Mannery has not changed tires. Only 2 of the LMPs, in my knowledge, have changed tires. The 4:29 is one of them, so he should have a little bit of extra grip, and we'll see if he can grab himself that 8th position. This instantly becomes the closest battle on the circuit. We've also got Jen McDonald making a pass on Leighton Cater. What has just happened to Leighton Cater? There he is. Maybe a slowdown because we saw the pass go by and he's 3 seconds behind. So Nick Mannery, and I was corrected. I said his name wrong in all race last time. He very politely corrected the pronunciation, so thanks, Nick. Give you a good call out the way your family recognizes you. Is now under heavy pressure from the 4:29. There's, and a jump over the curbs. What is going on? Cater has been up in the top, certainly the top 5. He's in the top 3 for a long time and is now dropping through the field in that 199. He's in 7th place. But the more curious thing is he's not in contact with the cars in front of him, so whether he's damaged that car, certainly that little jump off of the curbing won't help the under tray. We saw at Barcelona how sensitive especially the Corvette is. Kevin Hensel had to retire after jumping one of the sleeping policemen. So maybe some damage is affecting that 199. Connor Seidel now up to 3rd place as we caught a glimpse of him there in the 25. Cater moves back up to 6th, but Jennifer McDonald has hit pit road. Toby Seninger also in there, so Cater will recover. Very tight coming out of the pits. That's Noel and Seninger right behind him. So the blue flags right away. Senator trying to get past before they got out of the pits. The leader right in behind that. All kinds of blue flags here. The LMP will go through. Senator will have to bide his time and maybe take the inside there as Noel gets out wide and lets them both through. Good job there. Fowler has hit the pits in third place in GTE. That's his second stop. Nathan Jew now also negotiating this group of cars. Tantalizingly close in front of him is the race lead. He and Rod are back and forth all day at Le Mans. We haven't seen much of it today, but the gap is as close as it's been. Just ticking over the 4-second mark as he gets through the last of those GT cars. Boy, that's a beautiful car. The Concours d'Elegance. We're not finished this season yet, but I'm awarding that to Noel there. Out wide. GT's coming through. That's on Heinrich coming through. Cater decides to take to the grass. All kinds of stuff going on. Nobody hitting anybody else, which is good, but Heinrich trying to close the gap to the leaders. He's now within 10 seconds of Rodder. That tire smoke was from him. Nathan through Eau Rouge. Heinrich enters it. Connor Seidel now, who has not made his second pit stop, up to second. The BMWs get great fuel mileage. We've heard people talking, hoping maybe for a little bit of a BOP adjustment there. But he's certainly gone further. This great battle now for 8th place. Nick Mannery and Dean Alico. Rodder at 2:03 dead up top there. As there, Seidel is in the pits, and look at that, how close everybody was behind him. He drops instantly to 10th place. He's been up there all day, and gonna have to work his way back through. Still 20 seconds from his pit stall, so he's gonna drop down the field here. Mannery in the pits. This is his third stop. You can see Hayden Fowler coming in from third place behind him in the GTE. And this is a drive-through penalty for Fowler, we are told. And he's been caught for speeding in the pit road, so... that is... I don't know, is that turnabout fair play? Hayden won the Silverstone race, of course, as the top three all came in for a splash and dash. He was the only one to get pit road. The top two both sped, and it ended up handing the victory to Fowler, and here he was sitting on a top three, and that same penalty is going to drop him down the field as well. Mannery, we were told, has had a drive-through penalty. You can see now it's his 4th pit stop. And Nathan comes in for his final stop. All right, so let's tune back in here to the leaders. Nathan Jew is in the pits. This is his final stop. His teammate pulling out there. We'll watch these pit times very carefully as he gained 6 seconds, you recall, on his last pit stop. And he is out. 1 minute 26 seconds on pit road. It was a 24.1 second stop. And that is a quick stop. The other drivers will not be taking full fuel. As Seeley, you can see ahead of him now. Schwarz will also get by, and that is great news for Dennis Rotter. These are not back markers. He is going to have to pass these two for position. And you can see the relative times as they've been doing high 201s, low 202s. Seeley and Schwarz in the 2:03.1 for Schwarz. That's a good lap time. He's got new tires, of course, but it's 2:04s for the 72. And if he can't get by these two quickly, it's going to be a long... Well, he will lose touch with the leaders, so that's unfortunate track position there. And you have to think with these guys going long, Nathan averaged out his fuel stops, so he gained time. As Schwarz having a look now on the 72. This three-way battle has just gone through the race leader in GTE. There is Schleicher right there. They'll head to the bus stop. Nathan Jew having a look. Seeley, he's on the inside. And around goes Schwarz. Around has to wait for some back markers. I didn't see any contact there. You can see Nathan, last of the late breakers, a little puff from Schwarz, and around he goes. So there's one position done. We don't get a real lap time there. You see 3:11. That includes his pit stop. But coming down to Lake Combe, and Jew is passed. So Seeley not putting up much of a defense there. I think he realizes the 81 is the quicker car, and he's got Schwarz to worry about, although just handed a major present. He's got 11 seconds now on the 204. And with 23 minutes to go, is that a safe 6th position for the Canadian, who found himself running dead last after being spun in the bus stop? So we will wait anxiously for those final pit stops. This is Mark Sonnen, right on the tail of Jerome Noel. Keith Rainey coming through here, but that is a battle for position in GTE for the final. Well, we say, oh, and out wide, Rainey is through, and Sonnen will take over 10th. I say final points position. We run the WEC point system here, 38 down to 2 for the top 10. Then all the other cars get 1 point for running in the race. So that's a gain of a single point from 1 to 2 for Mark. Nick Mannery with that drive-through is now a minute behind Dean Ellico, and those positions pretty much solidified unless something else happens there. There is Mannery now, behind Judy Allen. He's got himself now up 10 positions in this race. He's running in 5th, up to the top 5. for the 46 car. So not sure what happened in qualifying there for the 46, but he's certainly got the race pace. And he's got himself up to a top 5 in his first KRL event. Hayden Fowler makes his way past John Nielsen there in the 54. John finds himself back in the top 10. You can see Connor Seidel has dropped well off, all the way down to 13th after a very strong day. And is actually off track. So something has happened out there, and after running up front most of the day despite that big crash, that car is now retired. "20 minutes remaining here at Spa, race number 3 of the Night Racing League Sportscar Championship. If you want to get on the grid, we've got a very few, 3 LMP spots left. There are 10 GTE spots left if you have an A or a B license. It's for mid-split drivers, 1,300 to 3,000 I rating. Come and join us at Interlagos in 2 weeks. As we have 5 race weekends remaining in this season 1 of the Night Racing League on iRacing. Nathan Jew puts a 2:03.3 on the board that time around, completing lap 47, as we wait for the top 4 to make their final pit stops. He is the only LMP car to have completed his service on board with the 81 now. But of course, the longer they go, the shorter those stops are going to be. He was 4 seconds behind Dennis Rotter when he hit pit road, and he was on pit road for 1 minute and 26 seconds. 24.1 seconds of that was stopped. This is the cockpit of Heinrich. Rainey has made it to pit road. That's Jerome Noel heading in there. So Nathan Jew will get that position. That's not really a battle on the circuit. But maybe we'll get an idea to see here with 17 minutes to go how long of a fuel we can expect from the rest of the leaders. Rainey just now getting to his pit box. Oh, as around goes Manathan Guerin, looks to recover. Rainey is stopped in the pits. We're watching the pit time right now. Comparing it to 24.1 for Nathan Jew. He's out, 20.1, so 4 seconds less fuel. And of course, Rotter, Heinrich, and Brommel are out for more laps, so expect theirs to be even shorter. I don't think this is going to work out for the 81. He certainly is going to come out in front of Brommel, I would think. That's a big gap. That's 29 seconds from Heinrich to Brommel. There we saw Rainey back out of the pits. He's going to slot himself into 7th. And depending on how short those pit stops are, I think he's going to be good to regain 5th. Seeley and Schwartz both have to stop again. This is Leighton Cater, who I must admit I must not have been paying as close attention as I could to the pit times, but he's got himself back into third after he had that kind of inexplicable drop through the field. He's had a third pit stop as well. So we'll see what happens there. Leighton Cater, I'm just looking through, he did collect a drive-through penalty. So that would mean he has to stop again. Still very good to be up in the third at the moment. We'll see what happens in the last 15. As the cameras jump around, there is our GTE leader, Alexander Schleicher. 23-second gap now for him. As you say, he's really kind of had the day to himself. A luxury he has not been afforded in the first two races. Alico and Guerin make it down into the pits in LMP. Here's Brommel, who we think is probably going to slot out in fourth. Down in GTE while we wait for the LMP pit stops. Of course, the 108 of Schleicher is leading. Wolters in second place. That is a 24.2 second gap ahead of now the 199 of Leighton Cater. And I must admit, his race has confused me a little bit. But he's got an extra pit stop on the board, which was a drive-through, we know. So he's going to have to stop again, and we'll see what that all cycles through as. Fourth is newcomer Toby Seninger. There he is, just 5 seconds up the road from Cater. Then it's the 46 of Jamie Allen, who has moved all the way up from a near the back of the grid position, up 10 spots from 15th on the grid to 5th. And he's got himself a very healthy lead of, boy, almost 45 seconds over Jennifer McDonald, who's had an eventful day but has recovered nicely. On board with her now in 6th. And again, she's done well. She's got 20 seconds over Kevin Hensel. You can see she's got an extra stop. That was a drive-through, but it's recovered nicely and turning laps about 1.3 quicker. Quick laps by the light cars up front by Dennis Rotter, a 2:02.47 that time around. As the cameras pick up, there is Nathan Drew now in the 81. He's 124 back of the lead. It's a minute down pit road plus fuel. So it's going to be a very close run thing. I don't think he's going to be able to get Rotter. He's going to be stopped for a short time. It'll be a very close run thing to see where he comes out with Andre Heinrich in the 32 car. 9 seconds up the road from Rotter. Here's Andreas Schwarz, who doesn't seem to be making much of a dent on Seeley. In fact, the lap times that time around 2.7 seconds slower, so looks like a solid, well, it's a 5th right now. It's going to be a solid 6th. Rainey is going to jump them. He's made his final stop. Only Nathan in front has made their final stop. The top 3 and Seeley and Schwarz will all have to be doing a splash and dash. Toby Seninger looking up the road to Leighton Cater there, 4th place in his debut. a very strong field of drivers in the switch at colors. Holds on to the outside of the track there, Jaden Manathan-Garin. An eventful day for him, unfortunately. "10 minutes remaining. There's no way these guys have saved. No, the lap times haven't been there. I'm going to say there's no way that these guys are going without a third stop, even a short one. Certainly Keith Rainey hopes so. So we watch Roder coming through on his 53rd lap. There is Rainey getting blue flags from Heinrich. Saw a quick gap there as we pan from Roder back to Heinrich as they're going through the Fania chicane. And Andreas Schwarz is in for his final stop. And he's going to have to make up some time here. Seeley is not stopped. He stayed out. But he definitely needs to make some time up to try and close up that gap to what will be a battle for 6th place. Roder in the pits. Heinrich stays out. So the leader coming in, and we will see Nathan's stop was a 24.1. He was on pit road for 1 minute 26 seconds. Heinrich is still not by the 6. That's not going to help. He does it down the Kemmel straight. Brommel is in behind. We expect Nathan to get past him. As we watch that gap extend. Nathan 116 behind Heinrich. That is going to be a very close run thing when Heinrich pits. A minute plus fuel and slow down and speed up. It's going to be very tight to a minute and 16 seconds. Roder is out, stopped for only 11.2 seconds. So he gained 112 on pit road. He gained. There is Nathan now coming through La Source. 14-second advantage for Roder. There he is now in second. We expect Heinrich next time around. Nathan does pass Brommel in the pits. Brommel stopped for 10.7 seconds. So the averaging out strategy didn't quite work out for Nathan today. As the short final stop, a huge advantage for these cars. So you get like, oh! That is Cater, Leighton Cater in 3rd place. On top of, I think that was Keith Rainey. As Heinrich is in the pits, we get a replay. Rainey going by. What on earth? So there is Cater back on track. And we are told he was convinced Rainey had gone to the pit. He had gone so wide on that corner, he figured he'd gone to the pits, and he just came back on the line. So the stewards are going to be having a look at that. One of the most bizarre incidents. Meanwhile, at the front of LMP, Andre Heinrich has made it to pit road. Nathan Jew is now just coming to the bus stop. 8.8 seconds stopped for Heinrich. I think that's going to be good enough. He's already up out of the exit at Eau Rouge. And so there you have it. Just now getting to La Source after what must have been a traffic-induced 2:05.3 for Nathan. And so he's going to be third. It's a very comfortable lead over Brommel. But not even anywhere close to Heinrich like we thought he might be. As Andreas Schwartz now... Seeley has been in the pits on that lap as well. He was stopped for 10.4 seconds and maintains his advantage 11 seconds over Andreas Schwartz. So Andreas here in the 204 not able to close that gap in the pits. In fact, he was stopped 3.3 seconds longer than the 72 car. Kevin Hensel running in 7th place. He's got a 7th and a 6th already this season. So there's the 2nd place car of Andre Heinrich. Tantalizingly close. It's a 5-second gap, but Dennis Rotter looks to have this under control. Leighton Cater now into the pits. And I think that's for incident points after that bizarre coming together at the bus stop. And so running all day up front, and we'll see how far down this drops him. I don't think he'll fix any optional damage with 3 minutes to go. Heinrich can see Rotter up there, but with 3 minutes left, it's going to be tough. Jennifer McDonald will be promoted to a top 5 in GTE with Cater's pit stop, and he's going to lose more positions. Hensel, I'm sure, is going to go through. That'll put him up to 6th, which would match his best finish this season. Dean Ellico back in the pits in LMP. Things have really sorted out as no real battles on the circuit. We've just got cars being lapped. There's your GTE leader, letting by the 2nd place LMP car. And this should give Schleicher the lead in the points championship. If he can cash this one in, it's a 1st, 2nd, and a 3rd in the first 3 races. So a great start to the season. And a terrible day for Connor Seidel, who you can see running, is retired actually, in 13th place, and 2 minutes remaining. It won't matter in the points if Costa gets past him. They'll both receive a point. But with 38 going to Schleicher for the win, that will be a costly result for the Canadian. Dennis Rotter through Eau Rouge in the 11. The gap is stable, just under 5 seconds. As everybody just bringing it home now. 4 car today, Thomas Brommel. He, of course, had a rough debut at Le Mans. He had the penalty down at Mulsanne Corner. But he's really responded well and had a very, very good run here. And actually did finish 4th at Le Mans. But a great race today. It's going to be another 4th. As taking it nice and easy as that Senninger, I believe, in the 91. Oh! Cuts it out wide. Only his 2nd incident point of the day, so nothing to worry about there. As what is Jonathan Guerin doing? Getting by Jamie Allen, who is now up to, yeah, maybe we can almost agree with those flashes. He likes to flash his lights. He's promoted to 4th, as I was going to say there. So a fantastic day, 11 spots gained. Senninger in front of him has gained 7 points and is looks like he's going to claim a podium. An all-switch podium in GTE there. Schleicher, Wolters, and Senninger. And they'll have 2 of the 3 in LMP as well. We say the large numbers. They've got 9 drivers in what is now 28 cars here. I believe 2 of them are not running today. Lars Watzek is not here again today. As there's your race winner, Dennis Rotter and Andre Heinrich. Nathan Jew will come home in 3rd. And the 108 of Alexander Schleicher wins in GTE. Nathan Jew will have to settle for a 3rd place in LMP. Brommel 4th. He's already left the circuit. And there is Paul Seeley coming around in 6th after being dropped all the way down to 10th. So here are your race results. Dennis Rotter wins at Spa with Andre Heinrich and Nathan Jew in 3rd. Thomas Brommel will come home 4th, followed by Keith Rainey, Paul Seeley, Andreas Schwartz, Chris Mannery, Dean Ellico, and Jaden Manathan Guerin round out the field. GTE Alexander Schleitzer gets his win ahead of Jens Wolters and Toby Senninger, a sweep of the podium. Jamie Allen, a fantastic drive up to 4th, followed by Jennifer McDonald, Leighton Cater, and Kevin Hensel. Hayden Fowler and John Nielsen, a top 10, fantastic for him, ahead of Mark Sonnen. So as the drivers get out of their cars, let's have a look at the points. Nathan Jew will maintain his lead in the points at 99, but Dennis Rotter is coming 65. Paul Seeley drops to 3rd with his 6th place finish today, with a 9-point lead over Schwartz. Very close as Brommel moves up to 5th place, just 3 points behind Schwartz. Heinrich, who of course retired at Le Mans, gets a good result here today and is 6th. The GTE points look like this. Alexander Schleitzer definitely takes the point lead from Connor Seidel, who had a terrible day today. Hayden Fowler just a point behind. very tight with Dmitry Dimchenko, who did not race today, Jennifer McDonald, Kevin Hensel, and Jens Wolters. Let's hear from our race winners. And we are here with the driver of the number 11 Dallara P217 and race winner here at Spa, Dennis Rotter. Dennis, you had a close call last time out at Le Mans, but you finally pulled off the victory here. Tell us about it.
It was exhausting, I have to say. Start was good. I could pull a little gap. I think Nathan and Andre had some troubles in the first steps, so I got them out of the draft. And from then it was, a clean race. Lucky for me. No big mistakes. And really glad about the race.
Well, tell us about the strategy that won it. We know a lot of people weren't changing tires. Were you saving fuel at all?
No fuel saving at all. I just tried to do some good lap times and no tires, which I really was struggling in the end with the tires. That was quite hard to drive.
Well, it was a great race and you pulled it off, so congratulations on your first win in the Night Racing League, and we'll see you at Interlagos in 2 weeks.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Dennis Rotter, everybody, a race 3 winner here at Spa. And joining us now is the GTE class winner, also a Switch-It driver. Hello, Alexander Schleitzer.
Yeah, hello, and thanks for the invitation.
Well, you've been knocking on the door. This is your 3rd podium in 3 races, and you finally cracked the top step. Tell us about your race.
Overall, the race was I put a little bit down the pace after the second stint because I saw I had a whole gap. I think it was over 20 seconds. So I go back a little bit with my pace and drive it easy home and check the tires. So my tires by the end I had around 65%, so it was okay.
65% left, that's great. Yeah, that's fantastic tire management.
Yeah. So it was a race, but where I have no mistakes inside. So it was a perfect race for myself.
Yeah, before the race, everybody was so concerned about the incident points. How many did you have?
One
in
the first round.
Yeah, in a 2-hour race. So there you go. Once you get going, it's not an issue at all, is it?
Yeah. So this was also, I don't drive at my limit, so I drive in my pace where I can control and have completely under control the car. So this was only the one ink was in the first lap.
Well, and it is kind of the point of the low incident limits is to keep everybody driving realistically and under control, and it's what makes this series so great.
Yeah.
So a great day for the Switch-It guys as they claim a lot of podium positions. Congratulations on your first win at the Night Racing League, and we'll see you at Interlagos.
Yeah. Thanks for the race.
Alexander Schleitzer, everybody. Well, I hope you enjoyed the race here at Spa. We'll be back at it in 2 weeks at Interlagos in Brazil for 90 minutes. Race number 4 of the Night Racing League Sportscar Championship. Join us then